Okay, I'm at 3655 Stettinius Avenue. Hope I'm saying that right. I guess you can see how it's spelled on there, but we're doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, and anything that may be of concern to the buyer. The access here is a rear right stack. If you're facing the house, it's in the basement. Coming down, like I said, in the rear, right rear back of the house, here is the back door that walks out. This is cast iron, and so expect to find cast iron from here all the way out to the to where it exits the house, and then most likely it will switch over to clay based off the age of the house. But this may be even better. It looks like it switches to clay shortly after it goes through the floor, which is not uncommon. The house, I believe, is built in the 20s, and so this is, in my opinion, I think clay under the floor in the house is better. We do have clay does have more opportunity for root intrusion, but cast iron rusts, and so eventually it will rust through. And so with having clay, you don't have to necessarily worry about that. But we do have more instances of root intrusion, but that's just requires some maintenance. The pipe itself can last for a very, very long time. So you see a little bit of water flowing through here. It is raining, and this is a combined system, so the downspouts come down and go into the sanitary sewer. So that's where the water is coming from. So switching over to a different age of clay or something, because you could see the color difference in that and what's around it. Not a bad thing, but maybe that was replaced at a time that was a little bit, any time between here and now in the 20s, excuse me. This actually looks like this may be concrete right here. It's kind of hard to tell because it's, no, this is still clay. It's just a darker clay. I just thought I saw some exposed aggregate for a minute. So this is just older clay. Some of the mixtures are a little more red than others. Let's see if that was right there. Have a little tiny bit of roots there on the right hand side. So again, that's not uncommon. With clay, you have, if you notice, there's a connection about every 3 feet. These are really short sections of pipe, and so it just gives it more opportunity for something like this where you have a little bit of root intrusion. This can be treated with a chemical, with it being this light. Maybe about once a year you put the chemical down through the line, and it should kind of burn back the roots and keep them from growing down and filling up the pipe. And as long as you do regular maintenance on them, they're not a major issue. Like I said, they're very, very common. Basically what happens is with these connections, you have the connection will, over time, the packing that they used at those connections kind of breaks down or shrinks, and then the roots of the tree find a way in, and as long as you make sure you maintenance them, they're not an issue. I mean, there's nothing a tree likes more than fertilizer and water all in one place. So usually in houses in this area, you could probably walk, go up and down the street and talk to the neighbors, and most of them have either had issues with roots or they know of a little bit of root intrusion. But in this case, all this is very, very minor. Doesn't require any immediate action, but I would recommend in about a year to do some, maybe at any point you could do some precautionary or some preventative maintenance by putting a bottle of I call it Root X. It's just a chemical that you can put down your toilet or something. There are directions on the bottle, and that just kind of foams up, goes out, kind of catches on the roots, kind of burns back the roots that are in the pipe. It does not kill the tree, but the line structurally looks wonderful. You can see we made it all the way out to the sewer main. Everything structurally looks great. We just have a few spots. In fact, this is very, very minor. The amount of roots that I've seen, just a little tiny indications at the seams. Those are all very minor, and like I mentioned, don't require any kind of immediate action. But it is something you may want to either put a chemical down in about a year, maybe do that once a year, and or have a follow-up inspection done in a few years, just to kind of see where how much the roots are growing, if at all, and kind of give you a better idea of how to schedule maintenance. But these are very, very light. They wouldn't even, there's no real way to even treat it at this point. I mean, you could put the root killer down there, but chances are it would just flow on down to the main and not even catch on the roots. As you can see, they're very, very light, not obstructing flow at all. Like a little bit of mineral deposits or calcite, calcium deposits. This is really what we want to see out of a line of this age. It's in great shape. Structurally, everything is intact. All the connections are nice and tight. There's no big offsets. There's no bellies. And even with water running through it constantly, there hasn't even been enough water to cover the lens, which is only about a ½ an inch off the bottom of the pipe. And this is a 6-inch diameter pipe, so that's wouldn't take a whole lot of water to cover the lens, and you can see none of that. He was unable to cover it even once. So going back into the very last bit here in the cast iron, just at the base of the stack. And we are already out. So the line looked wonderful. Don't have any major issues to report at all. Again, the only thing is a very, very minor amount of root intrusion. That is just something that you just might want to watch down the road. Right now, not an issue whatsoever. It's just got a little tiny little bit of finger roots getting in there, feeling around and looking for food and water. And so I'm going to recommend that maybe in about a year you do put a little root treatment in or something, and then down the road a few years I would have another inspection just to check the progress of the roots and see if they're growing any. If you catch them like that early and you have a good maintenance schedule, they won't cause an issue. The chemical treatments are pretty cheap, and so you can usually do them yourself, and they're $40 or something, I think, a year. So yeah, the line structurally looked wonderful. So again, just a little bit of maintenance and the line should last for quite a long time. Right now it is open and flowing freely and normally, and so that'll end the inspection at 3655 Stettinius Avenue. And we'll see if I'm right, but it's a pretty hefty spelling there. So that'll end the inspection.